Apologies once again for what appears to have been yet another technical glitch. We'll continue to work through this. Please bear with us, as the problem is probably not in your set. But as I was saying, there has not been a time in our country where we have been so desperate for competent leadership and management, those skills in our executive branch. We are going to have to make some very, very serious changes in the way we execute our policies. We're going to have to execute some very, very serious changes as we look to find ways to reduce spending. Not because we're just conservatives are big and mean and so on and so forth, but because we can't continue to do the same things we've been doing and expect different results. What we're doing now amounts to trillions and trillions of dollars. The laws of physics, the laws of math are going to come to play, and they cannot be ignored. So, prepare yourselves. Now, I apologize. Some of the challenges that we've had here this evening have caused me some difficulties here at the switchboard, and we're still working through some of the production values. And I appreciate your patience as we work through them. So, back to Mitt Romney. Why do I believe Mitt Romney is such a capable manager? Well, number one, whether you agree with capitalism or not, I happen to believe that individuals operating in their own self-interest within a moral construct are the best way to ensure the opportunity for success in our country. And the fact of the matter is, Mitt Romney has demonstrated business history of being able to help companies turn around and become successful, or to resume being successful, or in the event that it's simply not able to be renewed, to dismantle and move on. That's the creative destruction that is a free market capitalist society. And Mitt Romney has demonstrated that he has tremendous business management skills. When you look at the Olympics and the story behind that, what it was he stepped into, this wasn't a situation where, 10 years before the Olympics were supposed to happen, people got together and said, hey, we'd like to have Mitt Romney run the Olympics. And he put a plan together from scratch and worked with people from the get-go. No, he was brought into a failing situation. Sound familiar? Kind of like what we're dealing with here in Washington now. And in order to fix that, he didn't come in, bring thousands of outsiders and whatnot to just come in and throw everyone who was working on it away. He came in and rallied everyone around the cause, organized, got the job done on time, and did so in such a way that for the first time in American history, the Olympics were actually paid for and profitable and successful. By all accounts, those Olympics were a successful venue. We looked good to the world, like we had our act together. And then lastly, I would simply point out, as governor of Massachusetts, Governor Romney worked within the arena of politics that is Massachusetts. You know, the arena of politics in Massachusetts is different than the arena here in South Carolina. The primary difference is that it's a bit more liberal in Massachusetts, but in terms of the problems with the concentration of power and an overreaching government, a lot of those issues are much the same. But nevertheless, in Massachusetts, you have a Democrat-controlled legislature, whereas here in South Carolina, we have a nominally Republican-controlled legislature. Now, I say nominally because, in fact, many of those who are in government who profess to be Republicans are really Republicans in name only. A look at their record will tell you all you need to know. And that's, in some ways, really not their fault. And we'll come back to that a little bit later. But finishing up this rant on the debates. So it's readily apparent to me, after viewing both the first and the second debate, in looking at the substance, that it's very clear the difference we have before us from which to choose. We have one who is an epitome of failed leadership. And lest you think I'm just railing for the sake of railing and no specifics, let me run down a list of them. Fast and Furious, a refusal to enforce DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, which is the law of the land, the Secret Service scandal down in South America, the Department of Justice refusing to prosecute the Black Panthers who were guilty, it's on video, of voter intimidation. We have General Motors, which, with all due respect, Mr. President, we have not been paid back everything from General Motors. That was not done in such a way that it was successful. You violated hundreds of years of bankruptcy law in order to turn General Motors into government motors and to empower the unions rather than the shareholders. Solyndra, A123, and numerous other green energy venture socialism attempts. TARP. No, Mr. President, TARP has not been paid back. The Congressional Budget Office just reported yesterday, the same day you were claiming it was paid back, that we're going to be $24 billion short. That's real money out here in flyover country. We have not had a budget in your entire tenure. The budgets that you have submitted didn't garner a single vote. That was bipartisanship. Everybody rejected it. The sequester and the budget ceiling. You know, back when you were Senator Obama, you said raising the debt ceiling would be a sign of failure by the Congress and that you would vote against it. But when you were president, you insisted on it, refused to provide any sort of leadership, and instead we ended up with this stupid sequester that is going to be detrimental to our national defense, that you violated, by the way, because the WARN Act, which requires notifications by employers of 100 or more employees to advise their employees of pending layoffs, you're not doing that, Mr. President. As a matter of fact, you've advocated that those companies do not do so because it's an election year. Go figure. And that somehow, if there are lawsuits brought, don't worry about it. The taxpayers will pay for it. And the list could go on and on and on. It's not a matter of just one thing. It's not trying to cherry pick this president's so-called accomplishments to come up with signs of failed leadership. So we have that to compare and contrast against Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney, who has demonstrated the ability to lead, the ability to manage, who understands how the free market economy works, who has proposed specific ideas, in spite of your claims that there are no specifics, and that he supposedly is promoting, as you call today, the sketchy deal, the New Deal, the Raw Deal, the I forgot whether the deal you mentioned, but also the sketchy deal, which I think takes an awful lot of bravado and bovine fecal matter on your part, sir. That you, who ran on an ambiguous campaign of hope and change, could claim that Mitt Romney is proposing a quote-unquote sketchy deal. But we are where we are. And so in little more than a couple of weeks, Americans are going to go to the polls, as we have been blessed to peacefully be able to do, for over 200 years. And God willing, we will peaceably elect the next president of the United States. It is my sincere hope that the American people do the right thing and ensure that they cast a ballot for competent leadership and management capability over rhetoric and the ability to read a teleprompter. And that's my rant. Apologize for the interruptions and whatnot along the way. You're listening to the Palmetto Conservative Show here on the Conservative Broadcast Media Network. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Feeling lonely this holiday season?
Looking for little human interaction?
Do you want to feel contact in certain special places?
Then why not go through security at an airport?
The TSA.
TSA agents are ready and standing by to give you a little something extra to feel thankful about this holiday season.
The TSA.
What are you waiting for? I want to check under your testicles.
Spending time with a TSA agent couldn't be easier. Simply book a flight departing from any American airport. When selected for a full body scanner, say no. You'll be pulled aside by a TSA agent, and that's when the fun begins. And you never know who your agent will be.
It could be me.
Or me. Or even me.
But it's probably gonna be us. Take off your damn shoes.
The TSA. It's our business to touch yours.
Welcome to the Bureau of Womanhood Conformity. Independent thoughts are considered subversive because all must agree with our leader.
When it comes to women, preventative care should include coverage of contraceptive services such as birth control.
You see, if you don't believe government should pay for your birth control, you're not a real woman. Womanhood denied. If you refuse to accept that pregnancy is a punishment, you're denied as well.
I don't want them punished with a baby.
If you don't believe that abortions should be allowed for any reason, if you don't believe in aborting a child for being the wrong gender, and if you don't believe that stay-at-home mothers aren't real workers, you are not a real conformed woman.
His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. His wife has actually never worked a day in her life.
Finally, for your safety, if you oppose mandatory government health care, you will die.
They will be voting to say that women